Shri Krishna Parabrahmane Namaha. Atha Ashtamodhyayah Akshara Brahma Yogaha Arjuna Uvacha Kim Tat Brahma Kim Adhyatmam Kim Karma Purushottama Adhibhutam Cha Kim Proktam Adhidaivam Kimuchyate.
Arjuna said, Krishna, what is that Brahman or absolute? What is Adhyatma or spirit? And what is karma or action? What is called Adhibhuta or matter? And what is termed as Adhideva or divine intelligence?
After teaching yoga, now Lord Krishna is waiting for that question on knowledge. Unless there is a spirit of inquiry, highest knowledge cannot be imparted. In the beginning, Arjuna was miserable. He had lots of doubts. He was in a state of distort and totally broken down. And here, the Guru held the hand and walked him through that miserable state of mind, making him understand who you are, what you are. Why are you getting so why are you getting into this delusion? Come on, wake up. You think you are somebody great. You think you know it all, but realize you know nothing. See, people who think they know everything, they are not in a spirit of inquiry. They don't want to know. They only want to hear what they know. Many times people ask questions. They know the answer, but they want to check out whether the other person knows it or not. See? And just ask the question. So you decide what you want to do already. You have decided actually, but then you want some rubber stamp, someone's authority, someone to take responsibility for your decision. So you ask a question. This is in a state of vishada or regret and misery. From that, Krishna, Arjuna was brought up by Krishna to step by step, he took him out of that. Then Sankhya Yoga, telling him how the self is indestructible. In spite of all that misery you go through, there is something deep inside of you which doesn't get touched, which doesn't get affected. It remains complete, full. But you don't know what it is, but you know that there is something. That experience was given, and then knowledge and about karma, you must act without expecting. You have no control over the results of action, but you have control over action. All those steps were given to him. Then yoga, how to do yoga, how to do pranayam, how to sit erect in a place, not so high, not so low, but sit in such a place where you can feel comfortable and then meditate. Because yogi is higher than everybody. This is what Lord Krishna said in the 6th chapter. Then the 7th chapter, Jnana Vijnana, knowledge of this and that. And there he gives a little room for Arjuna to think and ask question, and that's what has given rise to the 8th chapter, Akshara Brahma Yoga, the ultimate supreme knowledge. So Arjuna comes up with these questions. Okay, I know that self, you told me about the self, but what is this Adhyatma, Adideva, Adibhuta, Adiyagya? What is all this? So a spirit of inquiry woke up within Arjuna. And this is what Lord Krishna was waiting for. See, unless the pot is upright, no point in opening the tap. You have kept the pot under the tap, but if it is upside down, it's useless. So the pot has to be upright. Then you open the tap, then the pot gets filled. In the same way, right question at the right time to be asked to the right person. And that's what is happening. Go to the next one.
अधियज्ञः कथं कोऽत्र देहेऽस्मिन् मधुसूदन प्रयाणकाले च कथं ज्ञेयोऽसि नियतात्मभिः.
Krishna, who is Adhyagna here? And how does he dwell in the body? And how shall those of steadfast mind realize you at the time of death?
One who is afraid of death can never know death. But one who is fearless would like to know what death is. And what happens during death? These questions arise in a curious mind.
Adios, amigo. Powering off.
And curiosity or jigyasa, spirit of inquiry, is the basis for moving further. You know, spirit of inquiry. What is death? What will happen during my death? When someone dwells on these basic truth about life, all those unnecessary things that we get ourselves wound up with just falls off. We see people dying every day, but we take it for granted. We seldom know what the death is all about. We seldom even think in that direction. You know, people who want to commit suicide, they are not bothered to know what death is. They are committing suicide because life is become miserable. They want to get out of life. And so they want to take life away. But life is eternal. You can't, the misery doesn't go away by killing oneself, but by knowing what death is. And to know death, you have, it's a catch 22. If you are miserable, you have no interest in knowing anything. There are two occasions questions arise in your mind. That is one when you are miserable. When you are, why this problem to me? Why me? This is when you are utterly miserable. The other occasion when questions arise is when your mind is calm and there is a spirit of inquiry that has woken up inside of you. You want to know what the death is about. This is not the state of misery. It's a state where your inquisitiveness has woken up. It's a sprouting of knowledge, sprouting of wisdom. This is very innate to every human being. This viveka, uh, uh, discrimination is innate to every human being. By the age of 3, every child starts asking these questions. We are born with it. As children, why this? Why that? I say, don't, have you seen? Just stay a few hours with a kid of 3 to 4-year-old. They will bombard you with questions. Sometimes you don't have answers for all their questions. They don't even expect all answers from you. They just ask. It is the nature. It's the nature of being to know. It's the nature of a mind to know. And so here, what is Adhyatma? What is spirituality? And who is in the body whom you have already said Adhyagya? What is Adhyagya? What is Yagya? What is this world is all about? These are the questions Arjun comes up with.
भगवानुवाच अक्षरं ब्रह्म परमं स्वभावोऽध्यात्ममुच्यते भूतभावोद्भवकरो विसर्गः कर्म संज्ञितः.
Sri Krishna said, the supreme indestructible entity is Brahman. One's own self, the individual soul, is called Adhyatma. And the discharge of spirits, or Visarga, which brings forth the existence of beings, is called Karma.
अधिभूतं क्षरो भावः पुरुषश्चाधिदैवतम् अधियज्ञोऽहमेवात्र देहे देहभृताम्बर.
All perishable objects are Adhibhuta. The shining Purusha, or Brahman, is Adhideva. And in this body, I myself, dwelling as the inner witness, am Adhyagna, O Arjuna.
Normally, 3 times we say Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Peace, peace, peace is repeated thrice. These are the 3 dimensions in which peace is desirable. Adi Bhuta, Adi Deva, and Adhyatma. Adi Bhuta is this perishable universe, ever changing nature, ever changing material existence. This is called Adi Bhuta. The Bhuta is 5 elements. Pancha Bhuta, it's called Pancha Mahabhuta, the 5 elements. Earth, water, fire, air, ether, these are all. And everything here is made up of these 5 elements, and these keep changing. And then Adhyatma, what is Adhyatma? It says, that's something which includes everything. The all is called Brahman. If any one thing is missing from Brahman, it is no longer a Brahman. Brahman is the totality, the all, everything. A simple example is a house. When you say house, That means everything is there. Then you say kitchen, bedroom, hall. Kitchen, bedroom, hall, veranda, living room is everything. All this is part of the house, no doubt. If you say bedroom, is it house? Yes, it is house. Kitchen, yes, it is house. But when you say house, it includes everything. Aksharam, that which is imperishable, that which is there all the time, of which you have no exit, from which you cannot uh, separate yourself. That inseparable, indescribable, indestructible space is Akshara Brahma. That is Brahman. See, whatever happens in space, right? Let's take space as the nearest example of Brahman. If you rise, it is in space. If you fall, it is in space. If something exists, it is in space. If something disappears, it's in the space only. So that one thing from which there is no exit at all is space, and that is Brahman. And the life deep inside of you is not separate from it. It is that Brahman. So if someone says, am I out of Brahman, or where I can find Brahman? Those who have found Brahman, they'll simply smile, oh my fool. How can you find something from which you cannot even, you have no chance to get separated? Seeking is essential. At one level, the seeking has to stop. This is where I say, don't look for something. Don't look for sun in the noon time. You are searching for sun in the noon. Stop searching, just relax. And when you relax, where are you? You are in Brahman. You realize the Brahman. But what is that something that is inside you which is searching, which is experiencing, which is saying this and that? That is Adidaiva. There is a Purusha inside. There is a life force inside. Though life force is part of Brahman, yet life force is very special. That is Purusha, your individual self. And there is something beyond that, within the individual self, that Parama Purusha, that is Adi Yajna. By the existence of which everything else is happening in the universe. That Adi Yajna is me. If you see a beehive, there is that one queen bee in that. It is the queen bee's existence make the beehive be there. Suppose queen bee is disappearing, what happened? Everything disappears. Like that, there is something inside of you which is holding everything up. And that is Adiyagya. That is me. It is me. That's what Bhagwan, the Lord Krishna is saying here. That's what Lord Krishna is saying, what? That Adiyagya Mevaham. I am that since I am, that awareness I am, that is Adiyagya. Before, Lord Krishna has said, one who has no yajna, for him neither this world nor other world is there. Yajna means what? That which brings everything together. That which makes everything operational. That which gives meaning to everything. It's like the SIM card in your phone. If the SIM card is out of your phone, will anything work in your phone? Phone is there, but SIM card is the central, isn't it? The SIM card is there, then the internet functions and everything functions. You can make calls like that. The Adi Yagya, that which the binding force, the purifying force, the uniting force inside of his Lord. And because of its existence, everything happens. So when things don't go right, don't go the way you want, you go into the source. And the source is the self. Source is the yajna. Yajna is not just doing some activity outside. It is getting to the root or the center of the existence. Are you getting what I'm saying? So when your desires are not fulfilled, what you do? Oh, do yajna. Means what? You go desire, fulfilling the desire means moving away from the self, center. So you go back to the center. Going back to the center is energizing yourself. When you energize yourself, automatically other things happen. When your SIM card is not traceable, what do? You go attend to that. Recharge it. Once that is recharged, then everything else functions. And yajna is not some activity outside. Yajna is deep inside. It is me. It's me in you as you. It's me in you as you. Is it confusing? That is Adi Yajna. So explains these are the steps. Now, what else? How do we do this?
अन्तकाले च मामेव स्मरन् मुक्त्वा कलेवरम् यः प्रयाति समद्भावम् याति नास्त्यत्र संशयः.
He who departs from the body, thinking of me alone, even at the time of death, attains my state. There is no doubt about it.
Yeah. When the mind leaves this body or the spirit leaves this body with the impression that it has, it moves in that direction. You can see in your own experience, see what is the last thought that you have in your mind before going to bed. And if you can remember the first thought that you get as soon as you wake up, you will see after good night's sleep, if you will see it will be eventually the same. You will see that it will be definitely the same. So the thought is just one aspect of mind. Emotions are the other aspect of mind. And some vibrations along with that is another third aspect. They're all linked. Thought, emotion, vibration. These are different levels of the same expression of consciousness. Now, when a person dies, or dies means leaves this body, how he should live, when he thinks of me, whatever he thinks, that is what he assumes that shape. The mind assumes that shape. And so he says you should how you should leave the body when you leave the body. And if you have been thinking some vulgar things in your mind all through, when you die, only that will come to you. But if you are habituating to think about the being, about the self, about the emptiness deep inside, then that is where the spirit, um, that what the spirit will assume. So what you need to do, sit and say Om. Om is the nearest syllable to the infinity. And how to do that? It's a further next sloka.
यं यं वापि स्मरन् भावं त्यजत्यन्ते कलेवरम् तं तमेवैति कौन्तेय सदा तद्भावभावितः.
Arjuna, thinking of whatever entity one leaves the body at the time of death, that and that alone one attains, being ever absorbed in its thought.
All life, if you keep thinking about chicken poultry farm, you will land up in poultry farm. I tell you, in the next life, you'll find yourself inside a egg. So, so whatever you put your attention, this is what karma is about. Whatever you put emphasis, and that's what manifests, and you manifest as. And so, in whatever, with whatever feelings or thoughts and sankalpa or intentions, you exit the body, and that's what uh, you will attain, and that's what will be your next life. So, it is important uh, to keep your mind in this space more and more. See, you can't say all your life you will be goody goody and nicey nicey and goody goody all the time. No. There are challenges come, you get upset. It's all part of life. But at least before going to bed every night, don't think about all your failures. Have you heard, the grandmothers, I'm sure, uh, all our grandmothers have always told us, just before going to bed, say a prayer. Think of God before going to bed, right? Because every night's sleep is a mini death, I tell you. And our subconscious mind records those things. And if you are very abusive, who use all the foul words, bad words, then your subconscious is filled with them. Forget about others, however the others are. But what you are, your consciousness is filled with all those filth. That is why Vakshuddhi, said your speech should be unabusive, sweet. Your speech should be pleasant. Satyam bruyat, priyam bruyat, na bruyat satyam. All these wisdoms, you have heard. Speak truth, speak firm, speak nice. See? If we keep speaking hurtful things, then tomorrow somebody will throw that same thing to us because it's going to come back to us. Whatever we put out, that's what is going to come back to us. So, as far as possible, keep purity in speech and in action. And now, how is it possible? It's not really possible in the world. To whatever extent it is possible, you can. And when you go to bed, at least drop all that and be prayerful when you go to bed. And think about the positive things that you have achieved. There are there are 1,000. There is a million things that you could be grateful for. You can find a million things to be grateful if you want to. And you can find 10 million things to grumble and to be unhappy. Life poses in front of you all options. You want to attain the highest, you want to be free, and the way is keep the mind clear. That's why it's called, this is all Maya. Maya means it's all changing. Everything is changing. You know. Today the flower which is there with so much fragrance, and few days later that will rot. And the same flower will give a foul smell. A fruit which is so um, attractive, a few days later, the same fruit will rot and will cause repulsion for you. So in the world, everything is changing. And knowing this, be stable, be unshakable, knowing that this imperishable, everlasting spirit is you and you are part of it. And have total peace.
तस्मात् सर्वेषु कालेषु मामनुस्मर युध्य च मयि अर्पितमनो बुद्धिः मामे वैश्यस्य संशयम्.
Therefore, Arjuna, think of me at all times and fight. With mind and reason thus set on me, you will doubtless come to me.
You don't know when the death is. You don't know when death is coming to you. When it will come alone. But when it comes so fast, so sudden that you will have no time to think about anything. Whatever impression is already there, only that will pop up. So instead of preparing to do something at the end, start doing it right away now. Are you getting what I'm saying? That whatever impression you are having throughout the life, that is what will appear at the end moment also, because that is what will get stored in your subconscious mind. And so, if you regularly keep thinking about me, being with me, then that impression becomes strongest. So, at all times, think of me. Here, the me is the consciousness which is pure, which is vast, which is deep inside every being, and which is beyond thought. It's interesting. Krishna says, keep me in your mind all the time. That means the Krishna's true form, which is space, which is pure consciousness, not the body, not the manifest form, but the unmanifest nature of Lord. And keep that in my mind. Keep that in your mind. Again and again, remind yourself. This is to say, again and again, remind yourself. See, when someone is obsessed with something, they come up with that all the time. If someone is obsessed with food, they see food in everything. They see moon, they see it's like a bagel. It's like chapati, roti. So when once you are obsessed with something, you see that everywhere. And the nature of mind is to get obsessed with something or other. If you notice, if you have nothing to worry, And some small things come and then you will hold on to that and you will worry for sure. As the mind is obsessed with either wealth or fame or relationship or this or that, something or other it gets obsessed with. Krishna knew it very well. So better get obsessed with me than I'm getting obsessed with something else. So I said, you get obsessed with the true nature of Adiyagya, the central core of the existence, the divinity. Everything should remind you of divinity. You see a bird, should remind you of divinity. You look at the divinity. The divine has treated this bird and singing as bird. A tree is blossoming. It's the divine who, as a sap in this tree, has come up as flowers and made this whole universe so colorful. Remembering me in everything is remembering the substratum, summum bonum of creation as manifesting in diverse way. Someone is yelling, shouting. If you are in this knowledge, you'll say, oh wow, the divine inside this person is yelling and shouting. How much effort it is taking to exhibit this particular quality. Just like someone who is witnessing a play, a drama, a play. I'd say, oh, acting very well. You know, the person is acting so good. If you're a director of a uh, movie or of a drama, of a play, you would appreciate every character when they do it 100%. Right? Ah, very good. Nicely done. And so this entire universe is nothing but play and display of consciousness. Oh Arjuna, just wake up and keep me. Don't forget it is the director who is making this whole play so interesting and beautiful. It's the director who's making actors act the way they are acting very well. Do not forget I am the director. That's what he's saying again. Yeah. So if we do that, then in the last moment when we exit this body, also we attain that type of when we exit the body, then we attain that state of consciousness.
अभ्यासयोगयुक्तेन चेतसा नान्यगामिना परमं पुरुषं दिव्यं याति पार्थानुचिन्तयन्.
Arjuna, he who with his mind disciplined through yoga and thinking of nothing else is constantly engaged in contemplation of God attains the supremely effulgent divine Purusha.
The moment the word God comes to our mind, we start thinking about some deities, some concept of God. God is like an old man or a deity with a crown and all these things. No. In India we call this Jyotirlinga. Jyotirlinga, linga means a symbol or an identification. And Jyotirlinga means identification there, but it is in the form of light, effulgent light. It's not substance, it's not object. It is a glow. It is energy. It's what you are. And how to take it? By yoga. Yoga is not just doing asanas and exercises, but uniting your mind. Chetasa nanya kamina. Your mind always goes outside. It's used going out. But when we train the mind to go within those few minutes, even those few minutes you sit in meditation and take your mind inward, what do you experience? First, emptiness. And that emptiness is valuable. We don't let that emptiness happen at all. We keep engaging ourselves with something or other. Everything else, all the actions we do, the puja we do, everything is a way to move into the yoga. Is a means to attain that stillness deep inside. So when you practice stillness, when you practice meditation, arrest the mind from going here and there. Nature of mind is to go here and there. It will go. It is through wisdom and through your practice you bring the mind back again and again and again. And as meditators, you all know, in the beginning it was difficult. Mind would go here and there. But as you continue practice, now if you miss meditation, you feel, oh, I'm missing something, right? And you sit a meditation, it automatically happens. Spontaneously, your mind starts settling down. When you practice this, then become become that. You live that vibrancy of divinity. Rather, the divine effulgence comes through your existence very clearly.
कविं पुराणमनुशासितारम् अणोरणीयां सम्मनुस्मरेद्यः सर्वस्य धातारमचिन्त्य रूपम् आदित्यवर्णं तमसः परस्तात् प्रयाणकाले मनसाचलेन भक्त्या युक्तो योगबलेन चैव भ्रुवोर्मध्ये प्राणमावेश्य सम्यक् सतं परं पुरुषमुपैति दिव्यम्.
God is omniscient, the most ancient one, the ruler of all, subtler than the subtlest, the universal sustainer, possessing an inconceivable divine form. He is brighter than the sun and beyond all darkness of ignorance. One who fixes the life breath in the space between the eyebrows at the time of death, with an unmoving mind, attained by the practice of yoga, and steadily remembers the Divine Lord with great devotion, certainly attains him.
There are those who do yoga, or who even practice meditation, and there are others who are in devotion. Both remain incomplete. Someone who is doing only devotion, who is simply in devotion and does not get into meditation, there is some incompleteness. On the other hand, those who are just doing samadhi, they can go under the ground, bury themselves up, and all that. They do all those sort of things. It's only a mental exercise. When these two are combined, when there is devotion and then there is yoga, it's something beautiful happens. Lord Krishna very clearly says, God is not somewhere sitting up in the heaven and trying to hide from you, trying to allure you with something. No. He's everywhere, all pervading, omniscient, omnipotent, omniscient. We all know that, we have heard about it. But how do you experience it? Your experience can come when you just uh, rise above the body consciousness. Deha buddhi, I am the body. When you think I am the body, then this this thing is obscure from you. So yoga balena cha, bhaktya yukto yoga balena chaiva. With devotion and with the strength of yoga. When you put your attention on the infinity, which is indescribable, which is formless, which is ever present, you attain that. And here he also tells a little technique. See, in Art of Living, we have all this. We have devotion, we have technique, we have yoga. It's a complete path. Because we have not excluded anything. Yajna is also there, a little ritual is also there, wisdom is also there, isn't it? Everything has come together. And that's what happened. Whenever the true wisdom, everything comes together. The reality, the real thing is yajna, adi yajna. It just brings everything together. So he said, you put your attention in between the eyebrow center. Take your prana there, breath there. When a spirit leaves the body, it has many options. One is it leaves from the mouth. You see, when people die, first their jaw drops, and then they make some gaps. What do you call it? Yeah, they gasp, and then the prana can escape through mouth. Normally, it happens to many people through a mouth, but the prana escapes through uh, anus, the anal point. They pass out gas as the last act of their life, Apanavayu. For yogis, for meditators, prana usually the eyes go up like this, and then the prana escapes through the third eye point, from the eyes. Many people it happens. When someone has lived a good life, usually their eyeballs roll and the prana escapes through the eye. Normal, natural death. And then there are others for yogis for whom the prana escapes through the Sahasrara, Brahmarandra. In India, there is this thing when the cremation happens, the son or daughter, they come with the stick and then the Kapala Kriya. It says they break the skull of the corpse while on the cremation, saying that if there is something held up there, let it open up. That is the idea. Means one should complete. When the prana escapes through the, the top of the head, then that life is complete. The, the death is complete. That means life is complete. But a yogi can leave his body on his will, sitting in meditation and willfully can exit through the third eye point. So death is simply a transition from one body to another body, from one life to an eternal life. You leave the physical body, but you move away with your subtle bodies and the causal body. And the subtle body, if it is filled with all sorts of different impressions, those impressions cause our next life. If the subtle body is filled with only light, there is no impression, then it merges with the causal body. And causal body is the body of bliss. And if the question is, will that person also return? Yes, it is possible, but it is that person was merged into the causal body. Will he return? Yes, by divine will, that person can return. You are not you are not compelled to return. You can return if you want. But if your subtle body is filled with impressions, cravings, aversions, and you are set to come back, you are bound to come back, you have no freedom. But yogis, they have freedom because you are exiting this body in a blissful state, in a state of contentment. Let's keep it as simple as that, content. See, a person who is content, how nicely they go to sleep, and when they wake up also they feel very happy. Right? Look at the children, they have had their milk, they sleep, they wake up, they are happy. So you are not going to bed, you are not um, going to bed with some incomplete agendas. And that is where this knowledge helps you to know that there's nothing that you need to hold on to. All is done, this is done, this is done, this is done. And whatever need to be done will be done. Got it? Having that confidence, anything that need to be done through you will be done. And whatever you want to do, you will do it. There is no anxiety about it. And so mind is subtle, sitting. This is the way to act with detachment. You have to act. You have to act till there is life in the body. As long as the body is there, action, and action is always with some intentions. Can't say acting without intentions. And all these steps can be managed when you dip yourself in this ocean of bliss, meditation.
यदक्षरं वेदविदो वदन्ति विशन्ति यद्यतयो वीतरागाः यदिच्छन्तो ब्रह्मचर्यं चरन्ति तत्ते पदं संग्रहेण प्रवक्ष्ये.
Scholars of the Vedas describe him as imperishable. Great ascetics practice the vow of celibacy and renounce worldly pleasures to merge with him. I shall now explain to you briefly the path to that goal.
Krishna always likes diversity. Want to mention what other peoples are doing. So he said, "How? What is that something um, which these people who are scholars are talking about? Yadaksharam Veda Vido Vadanti. People say this is imperishable divinity, and there are others who do penance. There are others who practice celibacy. Why they practice celibacy? What is the point in practicing celibacy? They find that some other current, some other joy that they are getting in celibacy. There's something that is kindling, that is more charming than the physical pleasures. And what is that? I'm going to tell you about that in, in brief tomorrow. We'll do a few minutes of meditation.